In this top 10 list, we're getting nostalgic. It's of course ironic that we are broadcasting on the internet. That's what this whole thing is about. But there used to be a time when that sort of thing wasn't really common, wasn't really accessible, certainly not in your pocket. And I do sometimes miss that stuff. And so Francesca Fiorentini is joining us to do our top 10 things we miss about that pre-internet era.
We are old enough to remember, and some of you are not, and some of you are.
No.
Some of you have different memories, but it is very bizarre that our kids will not remember a time without the internet. And I don't know if I like that.
I know. I mean, we were talking recently about how our kids won't know a time before AI, let alone websites and smartphones. You're a little bit younger, so I wonder how much complete than me. Yeah, you are. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, like I remember when I used to know the websites I could go to. Like I had in my head the list of the websites I could go to, and I did it by dialing up.
Jessica, what is her name now? Oh yeah, GeoCities. Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I probably was looking up on Ask Jeeves Jennifer Love Hewitt back in the day.
Is Jennifer Love Hewitt got a boyfriend, or does she single because I'm 12?
God, that's so true and embarrassing. But yeah, I used to use AOL Instant Messenger, and it was a different time. I remember when I first connected to Diablo 1 with a friend over a modem, and our mind was blown that it worked. And now it's the most obvious thing. 3-year-olds can do it.
I don't know what that is. I'm not a 3-year-old. I'm 2. I am younger than you.
Said, you are. With that said, why don't you get us started?
Okay, number 5 thing, 5th thing I miss. What? Okay. Number 5th thing I miss about not having the internet. Shopping for shoes in person. There is something very.
Now?
No, not really. I buy stuff online, and it's like online shopping is, first of all, this is a side note. When I was living abroad in Argentina, which I have to mention every single time, the year 2007-8, and I came back to the United States, and when I had culture shock because I saw someone shopping on her phone, and I was like, ooh, like that did not exist down in Argentina. There wasn't obviously accessibility. Amazon wasn't around yet. I don't think it even is now. But of course, again, not every country has all of the things that we have. And I was just like floored. It was like a Black Mirror moment for me. But I do think that certain things should not be bought online. And I think pants and shoes are some of those things. And the wonderful experience of going in and trying on 50 pairs of shoes and being like, I don't like any of these, bye, is like, you gotta walk around in them, you can change them. You don't have to go back and forth to the post office or wherever to send them back. It's just so much work, and shoes should be comfy. And you gotta do that little weird shuffle. You gotta ask a random stranger and be like, do you like these? And they're like, no. And then you're like, okay.
You need to look at them in that little angled mirror that provides the weirdest view of your feet that no one will ever have.
Yes.
You know, at first I thought that what you were saying was super weird because I always buy my shoes in a store, which sucks because then if you want a different size, you gotta ask. But then I realized the shoes I'm wearing right now, I ordered them online, and I ordered a couple others. So I guess I have now become a part of the problem.
You have.
Yeah, shopping online is a very different experience. I have just become so normalized to it because I don't like leaving my house.
I know.
Anyway, mine is related to yours. My number 5. It's not a direct thing about the pre-internet era, but it's definitely correlated with it. Back in the pre-internet era, and maybe this is controversial, feel free to disagree.
Okay.
I feel like you had way less monthly fees for things. I think everything has a monthly fee now. Every stupid little, app on your phone wants to charge you $3 a month. Every one of the streaming services, all like the food delivery stuff, the exercise stuff, like everything has a monthly fee. So it's so hard to know how much money you're spending because you're not like handing the money over or swiping. It's just automatic deductions every day. It makes it hard to know where you're at financially.
Oh yeah, they're fee fucking us is what I'm gonna call it. That's absolutely how they're making their money, and they know it. It's like everyone figured out the gym membership model, and we're like, oh, we need in on that. So we're just gonna charge you $15 a month to 30 months. Yeah. exactly. Even though you have not used this in forever. Oops, yeah. There's even, and what's so funny is that there is an app that allows you to cancel the services you're not using. And that app also costs money.
I have an app like that I just recently used actually, and I did identify some that it did save me a little bit of money. I don't know if I'm thinking of the same one as you, but
it adds your credit card stuff, but you had to pay for that app.
I think I have the free version, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm gonna check that after this video. I'm gonna check. But anyway, yeah, that's my number 5.
All right, that's a good one. My number 4 is I miss going to the movies and finding out about a new movie that was coming out from the preview and being like, oh shit, that was a fun moment where like now you are inundated with ads for it, you know, pre-rolls and this and that, and it's sort of like the shine of previews, which honestly, previews have gotten way too long. Why are there half an hour of previews? Oh my effing God. But I do think that it was very fun to be like, go to the movies and be like, oh my God, that looks amazing, and kind of be wowed. Like there was a reason to not skip the previews. Now, I really don't care. I don't, and I've seen all the things, usually seen all the things when I'm in a theater.
Yeah, that's interesting because I like the previews in movies, but they are way less useful. It's almost to the point where you have to wonder, like, should we just stop it and just save ourselves 25 minutes? Because there are definitely like grandparents that aren't seeing the trailers on YouTube or whatever, but they're not surprising us anymore. You know what, honestly, it might be more useful because everybody spent months watching the previews. Don't do previews. Do little previews of the movies that are in theaters right now that you could go see after you see this one. Because you might have missed that it was actually out now.
Yeah.
So don't look forward to 6 months. Just be like, oh, did you know, by the way, that the D&D movie is like down the hallway? You can go see that right now. That might be more useful.
Go down.
Nobody's surprised by these previews. You've seen them all before.
Yeah, just nothing. Anyway. It's a little bit like this is so bad, but like the Super Bowl and people being excited about ads, which is the most American thing ever. But at least it's like, you know, that is the first time it's gonna be aired.
Yeah,
that's the feeling of going to see a movie and like seeing the previews. Now you're like, seen it.
Yeah, I have something sort of related that we'll get to, but my number 4 is the thing that I miss about the pre-internet era is paper. I miss when paper mattered and you'd hold it and it would have words on it, and maybe you'd collect some, and like old papers you had mattered. Cause like you could look at it and sort of remember writing things down.
Old papers matter. Hashtag old papers matter.
Oh no, you're gonna get me attacked.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean that in a couple different ways. Like I do miss reading physical books, and I know that you still technically can. The only time I read is late at night, and I need it to be bright. I need it to be flashing in my eyes. I still own some books, but it's for nostalgia. I miss going to the library. I miss needing to go to the library, like to do a paper or something, where that was how you researched, was wandering through stacks and just taking out a book. And you still browse online, but it isn't the same thing. There's something old timey that I miss about.
Yes. Don't you feel like you're such a sleuth? You're like, ooh,
yeah, I found this
because I checked out a book.
Yeah, I'm basically Watson at this point. Yeah, I miss letters and books and all the different stuff that'd be on paper. And now paper, the quality of like a random piece of paper you get is so much less useful than it used to be, because it's probably junk or a bill. You don't want paper anymore.
Yeah,
I don't like
that. Let me do my next one sort of in relationship to that, because mine are they're sort of similar. But I am super guilty of this, but I miss cards. And I've been getting a lot of cards recently, because I think when you get married and you have a baby, people are adults and they send you nice cards. John sent me a really sweet Mother's Day card. Him and Arlene sent me something, and I am someone who has used Evites and electronic cards in both of my weddings, because I was married before, and then I got married last year. I didn't get divorced. No, I didn't get divorced. But like I've used e-cards for wedding invites and thank you cards. I have yet to. I think I sent some physical thank you cards for maybe a baby shower, but like there is nothing. Nowadays we're like sending text messages for happy birthdays, we're doing this and that. And I think it's an age thing, but it's also just like an internet thing. We need to bring back cards, bring back handwriting, a nice card. My handwriting is dog crap. It is so bad. I have the worst. I have to sit next to you when you read my card and be like, yeah, no, time. That's what that says. And
translate that for you.
Exactly, but still, it is good, and I agree with you. I miss it. I miss the smell of pens. Sorry, that's a random thing. I just love the smell of pens. There's nothing like the smell of ink.
And the smell of like markers and paint. Yeah, whipping as much as huffing, really. I miss that actually. I don't remember my name.
I miss cards, yeah.
I do. Early in the pandemic, I bought a typewriter to send some cards, and I sent a few, but I got out of the habit, and I worry that it seems weird. Like that may help with the penmanship thing, but like, would you want to get a letter that was typed out, not computer, not a printer, no Kinkos?
I mean, I think it's cool, but it does kind of look like you're holding me ransom as well. And I'm like, what is this?
Why is that what it's associated with?
I like handwritten cards.
Paper.
I like handwritten. You know what I used to get?
I like typewriters.
Yeah, I guess that is not the internet, but the internet's made it so easy to be like, thank you, sorry, I love you, blah, 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 little emails. And it's like, no, you could send a card.
Yeah, and like when you type it, it probably isn't ChatGPT. I haven't seen a ChatGPT hook up to a typewriter yet, although you could probably do that.
Oh God.
Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, well, I'm gonna move on to my 3, okay? And it's almost sort of related to your movie thing. I love how on demand everything is, and how when you go to find something on the internet and can't find it, isn't it kind of a weird experience? Like if there's a movie that you try to find and it's not streaming anywhere, you're almost like, wait, is that allowed? Like how is that not available? Everything is so available, and that was not true not that long ago. But there is a thing like with those trailers to it where coming across something randomly used to feel great. When I would be watching TV. Yeah, like.
Well, if you go to a video store and you walk by the aisles and you always pass and you're like based on the cover, but what if it was checked out and so like there wasn't something behind it?
I know, that was annoying. But like there was just, or even like scrolling on TV, it was more valuable because it was rare and unpredictable. Like if Return of the Jedi was on, well, that's when I'm watching it because now it's on. I could watch Return of the Jedi at 5 a.m. if I want to, and I probably will tomorrow. But that makes it less valuable that you can see anything you want. Now everything is on demand, so everything is a little bit less valuable. Like on average, I think TV and movies are better than they used to be. So I'm not complaining about the modern era or whatever, but I did like how things felt rare, and you could be surprised by finding stuff. You could be like, oh my God, I haven't thought about that movie in forever. Yeah. And that discoverability.
Yeah, the fact that like all the Oscar noms have been streaming is very interesting and absolutely, I mean, this is what writers are striking over now, right? But it has devalued them overall. I've never been someone who like had to see all the Oscar movies, but I remember when I was younger, there was something like my family would make a point to go see like at least 2 of them or 2 or 3 or something. That's cool. And I remember that, yeah.
My wife and I, well, prior to the pandemic, we were doing that for a few years because we was doing an Oscar party. But no, as kids, we would not, unless The Lion King was up for an Oscar, we were not going to see the Oscar movies.
Right.
Anyway, what's your number 2?
Was it? Number 2. Probably. Number 2, talking on the phone. That's right.
Go away. Go away.
What?
It's the worst thing in the universe.
No, talking on the phone is good. It builds social skills. It builds intimacy. I feel far more intimate with people when I talk on the phone versus FaceTime and all that crap, versus email, versus anything, versus being on social media and like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to you. Oh yeah, I wonder, because it feels like I talked to you, but really I just liked your post about your family, and I've been keeping tabs on you through the internet like some weird stalker. Like, no man, I have your number. We can talk on the phone, we can catch up. I talk on the phone with my friends my close friends who I truly made. I guess I made them before the internet was around, but these are like my friends, and I used to spend hours on the phone as a teenager, and I'll spend like an hour on the phone every month or two with my close friends, and I love it. And I think in general, we should talk more on the phone. That being said, when I get a phone call, I'm like, like, I'm like, and like I will not talk on the phone with anybody.
Yeah,
You're frozen in a really funny way.
I don't know
I have to screenshot it.
And for me, I'm moving. Okay, well then I won't call you. I love, by the way, that you ended that with, I don't want to talk to anyone. Okay, well, I don't either. Thank you. I look very I'm like, but anyway, yeah, I don't want to talk on the phone. It is my least favorite form of communication out of all of them, because
Alexander Graham Bell
physically
died
uncomfortable. You have to just hold your arm up for the whole time. That is so uncomfortable.
They used to make phones that were comfortable.
No.
Remember the old ones?
You're awkwardly pacing or staring off. You can't see the thing that you're talking to. Phone quality has not improved in 30 years.
That's
so it's
amazing.
Hard to hear them anyway.
That's true.
It just feels like you are anchored to like a boulder that's descending into the depths of the ocean. I just hate the sensation more than anything. I used to talk on the phone for hours when I was young because I desperately wanted to hook up with people, and that seemed like a good way to make it happen. It wasn't, by the way, but it seemed like it would be. So I would talk on the phone a lot. And I liked talking on the phone back then.
You didn't get laid from talking on the phone? Oh no.
Probably, I don't know, maybe I was. But there was nothing else to do. That's what, until Instant Messenger came out, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do that from now on.
You can't see my muscles, but let me describe them to you. They're actually really big. And if they could talk, they'd say, hey, what up? I'm cool. I'm not socially awkward.
I would have done much better if that was what I was like back then, but that's not what I was like, and I wasn't muscular. So anyway, that's my thing. That's my thing.
No, talking on the phone. Remember people's numbers? I will literally die. Like if my phone doesn't work, if cell phone towers go down, I don't remember anyone's effing number. I will just die in a snowstorm.
I don't know literally one phone number.
I
don't even know the emergency one. No, I don't.
Neither do I. I think 936.
Don't say it out loud.
I know.
People be calling Matt. Anyway, no, I don't know any numbers, and you know what? I'll just die then. I'd rather die than call someone on the phone. I mean that.
Hi, 911. Yeah, what's your emergency?
911. No, I can't do it. Bye. Anyway, my number 2 is actually kind of related to that.
Oh God.
It is the concept of being unreachable that you used to leave. And from when you left to when you got back to your house where there was a phone or like a dial-up connection, that was it. You were just off doing stuff. You were not reachable. No one was trying to reach you randomly. You were just free to do what it was that you had to do, whether it was like structured stuff, errands, or just wandering around. It was distinct from being connected to stuff. Now it's all the same. We're all equally able to be gotten to, unless you literally go out of your way to go to the wilderness or something. I did like the fact that you could go out and be unreachable. You could still obviously theoretically do it. You could not take your phone with you, except that socially you're not allowed to do that. You're a weirdo if you're not reachable. I'm also married. My wife would have a big problem with that if suddenly I was leaving my phone. Why don't you want to have your phone with you? Just because I like the idea of not being able to be reached. It frees you up. Or hypothetically it does. I don't know because I haven't experienced that in 15 years.
Well, there's a difference between loneliness and solitude. And solitude is actually incredibly important. And you find yourself nervously and what's the word? Sort of like, John would know the word, but like becoming an addict. You're like addicted to being connected to people.
Paranoid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
codependent.
Yes, there's a codependency on like I must constantly be in touch with someone. Oh, the 7-Eleven was out of the Gatorade flavor I liked, so I got the other one. Anyway, now I'm walking outdoor. Like it's just like you don't need to tell anybody those things. You can have inner thoughts and it's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I miss it. Maybe I'll try it. I'll see if I'm allowed to.
One of the best bits on this was Chris Rock had a great bit about like couples and with the phone now, and like you have to constantly check in. It's I'm in the door. I love you is how it ended.
Okay, I'm gonna look in on that.
Yeah.
So what does that leave as your number one?
Number one reason and thing I liked about the not having the internet was, and if this isn't your number one, then you missed out. Not knowing. That's right. And nowadays, when you have a conversation with someone and you're like, oh yeah, Jeffrey Rush, what was he in? What was that movie? I don't know. And you spend a couple of seconds thinking about it, utilizing your brain power, and just being like, oh yeah, he was in Shakespeare in Love. Yeah, that was whatever it is. Now we just go to our dum-dum machine and we look it up and say like, brain, no wanna work. And we just have the phone look everything up for us. You guys, my mom invested in one of those encyclopedia things for me when I was little. I had all the encyclopedias, I could look up all the information. Of course, I never did. I only played with one of the encyclopedias. And it was the encyclopedia that was called Make and Do, and it just had art projects and crafts and ideas. And so of course that's the only one I was like, I don't give a crap about history. I don't want to make and do. But anyway, the point is that knowledge was something that was, I think, like you arrived at it through conversation, you inquired about it, you sort of like, if you wonder about a science thing, you get there through remembering what you studied in school and then versus just looking it up on Wikipedia, I feel like we're dumber even though we have more information.
Look, I think if people are not remembering things because they can offload it to the internet, then I agree. I don't like that. I think that people should learn stuff. If they're not learning stuff because they can just look it up, then I agree. But for like trivia stuff, like stuff where you wouldn't have known this and you don't know this,
and you won't retain it. Like
no,
you're
okay,
not gonna
maybe
retain it.
But I will whip out my phone and voice ask a question at the drop of a hat.
That's so annoying.
Look, in a very real sense, if you had asked me as a young kid, what magical technology do you hope exists? For me, it would be, I can ask any question I want and get an answer. And so for me, it's like the ultimate use of the internet is some dumb thing about like,
where do babies come from?
And I'll be like, wait, what else do I have I seen them in? And I can find out and I can know. Me and my wife chit-chatting about it was not gonna produce an answer, not a correct one anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. I think being incorrect or not knowing is okay. It opens our minds to be more curious and to actually like arrive at it through different methods.
Now, but see, you're saying that as a person who's probably pretty used to being incorrect, whereas I'm used to knowing a lot and being right about it.
Wow.
And so I don't like accidentally falling off briefly from my pedestal. I want to stay up there propped up by technology. I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
Nope.
I will say that my number one is a more limited version of yours.
Okay.
And mine was, what I miss is not knowing how crazy and awful a lot of people are. Like you might have an idea that some people are bad, but you didn't have to constantly be reminded with never-ending specifics all of the dumb things that people believe, all of the hateful things that they believe and say, how easily they're manipulated, how easily they're distracted. Like none of that is deniable and hasn't been for a very long time. And mostly, it's certainly in our business, we see a lot more of it than other people, but you're just constantly reminded and people are emboldened to be as crazy and hateful as they possibly can be. And that was not very common before the internet. You would go out of your way.
Yeah, exactly. All of the BS rises to the top. I mean, and it spreads and it makes us so much more fearful of one another. It actually, like, what's so terrible about the internet is that it atomizes us, when I think the selling point is that it's supposed to bring us together, but actually it doesn't. It makes us, I think, a little bit more fearful of one another in real life because we see the most extreme examples of us, and I mean of the human race, through our phones.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I can't talk to anybody because what if they pull a gun on me? Like in that one video.
Yeah, or what if they believe in a flat earth, or what do they think I'm a lizard? Like, God, man, you see how crazy people are. And look, it doesn't mean that lots of people aren't nice and reasonable. They still are, but it's harder to remember that when you're constantly being reminded of the opposite.
Yes, I didn't remember my number one, which is not a number one, but I'll just.
Wait, I thought we said what
I did, but it just occurred to me, and I don't have to. I don't have to elaborate, but I will say this.
What?
Sex before the internet. You kids will never know it.
Well, I wasn't having it, but
it was better. It was better.
It was better. You don't want to elaborate?
No, I just think that yes, I do. Our sexual beings are so filtered through pornography and what we see. And I'm not saying this as a prude, but I'm saying this as we kind of, especially as a woman, you're outside of yourself when it comes to your own pleasure. What your own pleasure is what you think, and men too. What you see and what the internet tells you is hot is what you think is hot. What is hot is what feels good. That's all that should be considered hot. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, it's just having so much access to porn, I think, disconnects us from the beauty of intimacy as it is. And it doesn't have, it can be nasty. I'm not saying it can't be nasty, but I'm just saying the internet has ruined sex. That's it. And we'll never go back. Sex will never be good again. It'll never be. We are. No, I'm telling you.
Should I text your husband?
We hate our boomers. No. We hate boomers, right? We hate boomers because they ruin the planet. They have all the money. They were able to buy a home, but boomers had better sex, yo. I'm telling you, boomers had better sex.
Maybe we should start having sex with boomers.
We should start having sex with septuagenarians.
Everyone go out, your homework for the day.
Yeah, homework.
Go have sex with a 70-year-old. Anyway, okay, yes. Look, I will certainly say that it certainly makes pornography seem less rare. And if you had told like my 6th grade class boys, if you had been able to get us to understand how much pornography would be available literally everywhere you turn, we would not believe it. And maybe that was better. I don't know. But anyway, look, I'm not a super alarmist when it comes to.
You would have had to change your pants immediately. Be like, oh.
I probably already needed to. Honestly, it was 6th grade. Anyway, with that said, that's our top 10 list for the week, everybody. We probably should have ended it 5 minutes ago.
Top 11.
I hope that you enjoyed it. Yes, and thank you for supporting the channel, making all this available. We'll be back with another top 10 list next week.